Welcome, everyone. I'm currently away on vacation and will be back Wednesday, October 22nd. Today, your host will be Larry Goldberg. Larry co-founded several companies and is now an active venture capital investor.
So, welcome, Brian.
Great to be here.
You notice I'm not Herbert.
I did piece it together.
But I'm trying to stand in for him. I'm doing as the best I can. I don't have his expertise, but, we'll bumble through it.
You have your own expertise. It'll be different, but still good. I'm confident.
Yeah. But you're actually providing a kind of a pathfinder. You being my pathfinder, so you're so experienced in this, you're kind of guiding me here. So any mistakes I make, I'll lay on your doorstep.
Totally fair.
So, I wanted to discuss a post that Mosconomy made just, I guess, the last day or so, where he put up a slide showing, or a video, not even a video, an image showing, the average tenure or the total tenure for each member of the management team reporting to Elon Musk. So I took his information and I just made a little bit more understandable slide of it. I wanted to show it to you and get your comments on it. So let me just show it here. And this is the slide. I think it gives you a fairly good breakdown of just how long these guys have been there. So here we have, and I should have sorted it in order of tenure, shouldn't I have? This is 15 of the top 19 reports. I did have the top 19, and this is their tenure.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that, France has been there for 17 years. We see Roshan Thomas, who's the supply chain guru, and he's been there for 16 years. Lars been there for 15 years. The guy that I don't have on this list, unfortunately, is Tom Zhu. And Tom has been there, if we go back to Mosconomy's slide, he's been there for, 12 years. So, and what's interesting about this whole, this argument is that we had, Bloomberg reporting about this huge turnover that happens at Tesla and how Tesla doesn't keep its top management and how we have this turnover. And I mean, I would be proud if I ran a company and I had this kind of average tenure of, something like 11 years of my top management or my top 19 reports. So, I mean, it just goes to show how these reporters really work.
So if you look at the company's age, the company's not very old. Yeah. They've only been around for a couple decades, and yet they've got people who've been there since almost the beginning.
Yeah.
Franz was brought in as a designer to design the Model S and hasn't left. He's still churning out fantastic designs. I'm confident he's still a tremendous asset to the company, and he seems happy there. He seems to have a workflow that works for him, but the rest of the list is no less impressive. Every time, you're right about this, every time any executive leaves Tesla, head of any department, anything like that, the reports are breathless. How could they? What a terrible thing is going on that everyone is fleeing the ship. And you just said 11 years is the average tenure. Well, I looked it up for C-suite levels industry-wide, not US-wide. For all major companies, the average C-suite tenure is 4.9 years.
Oh, my goodness.
4.9 years. That doesn't surprise me. And if you look at the CEO tenure, it's between 5 and 7 years. So it's crazy. And that's the difference between the median and the mean. 5 years-ish for the median and the average being 7.5. There is a lot of turnover is not inherently a bad thing. Maybe the company's going in a direction and you need someone who's better suited to that direction. Maybe someone is burnt out. There are a lot of reasons someone can leave a company, and I'd say most departures are not necessarily a bad thing. So, I don't get the fury over it.
So if you look at the top the 19 people who report to Elon, and they have an average of 11 years, and the industry average is 5 years, or not the industry, sorry, I guess it's the public markets, public companies average is in the 5-year mark. You get a sense that maybe Tesla's got a very stable management group.
I would say it absolutely feels that way. And it's not like this is a cushy gig. I'd gotten a chance to meet a few people who were high up at Microsoft in the 90s. And I had a friend who was a nanny for a couple that were both executives. And I said, wow, executives at Microsoft, they must work long hours. She goes, nope, they're 9 to 5. I thought, really? Microsoft in the 90s is a 9 to 5 gig for the executive? Yeah, of course. I mean, who wants to work more than that? Well, but aren't you trying to do amazing things? Nah, we're Microsoft. So it was pretty eye-opening to me. If I worked at Tesla in any position, I would assume that 40 hours is how many you work if you're sick that week, because I'm here to change the world. And that's not a part-time job.
Well, now let's talk about average age, because
Sure.
the oldest guy amongst this group, my understanding is, at first glance, is Franz von Holzhausen. Franz is
Yeah.
under 60 years of age.
Yeah.
Elon is in his early 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's compare that to, say, Apple.
Mm-hmm.
I did an analysis of Apple's top management, and you know what their average age is?
I'm going to guess it's not 50. How bad is it?
It's way over 60.
Oh, no. The average. So for every 40-year-old, you've got an 80-year-old.
Well, that may be there's no 40-year-old.
No.
There are 2 members of the top 10 of the CEO reports that are under 60.
Wow.
And not that far under 60.
And I'm not saying that doesn't mean you can't do great work. I'm saying that says something. It says something. When we saw Investor Day, what was that? Maybe 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
And
I think 3.
2 or 3 years ago,
Yeah.
they brought everyone out on stage, department by department. I'm in charge of this. I'm in charge of this.
Yeah.
And the one thing we noticed is that, first of all, these people represent every slice of life, but also they were all, by my definition, young. My definition keeps getting higher, of course, as I age as well. But these were people who were not all of them younger than me, but quite a few. And when I met the engineering team who designed and built the Cybercab, I was impressed that all of them were quite young as well. I expected to see one, wise old Yoda type there who was maybe the brains of the operation, but no, they're all the brains and the brawn of the operation. And they're young and excited and passionate and willing to put in the work.
Well, we've seen a turnover. We've definitely seen a freshening up of the management team, and I think that occurs at almost every level. And one of the reasons that it does occur, maybe even not as frequently as it does in the average public company, but it does occur, is because there is this refresh cycle taking place. There is this cycle of let's freshen up, or let's get some new blood in. And some people do get burnt out, and it's a good thing to actually step down when you are reaching that point. So I think we've seen a good set of movement of the management team. We've seen new blood come in. When the entire charging team just resigned during that big cut, everybody said, "Oh, that's the end of Tesla charging. They're gonna die on the vine." Actually, they supercharged themselves. They sped up, in deployment. They improved. They actually move forward many of their plans. And it's been amazing to see the development of the charging team.
Well, I will happily push back on that one.
Okay.
Nobody resigned. The department head said, "I can't do cuts as deep as you want. My team is essential." And so rather than replacing the department head, Elon axed the entire division. And I called it out day one. I said, this is not the right move. And of course had people furious at me. How dare I question? And then Elon agreed with my sentiment and scrambled to hire back as many of the right people as possible, uh, while there was still some opportunity to do so. The team has deployed more chargers. We don't know how much of that was in the works. I certainly don't know. I don't know if the answer is known, but they can come back stronger. I just, firing people because you don't like their boss, I think is not the best move, and you're going to lose some good talent by doing that. A lot of people would be snapped up immediately by competitors who will offer uh, more pay and more security, where they could at least say, we guarantee you that if we don't like your boss, we won't fire you. It's hard to build loyalty when you come back after something like that. I think it might take some time to regain trust. One
Yeah.
example, the
I mean,
only,
Elon's going to be Elon. You're not going to
yeah,
change him. I
sure.
mean, and
Yeah. And
but
and
I
the
mean,
and the division remains very strong.
the point that I'm trying to make is that refreshing a team is not a bad thing. In my
Mhm.
experience, refreshing a team often leads to very good things rather than bad things.
Pruning. It's just pruning. We've seen Tesla do this a number of times where they'll go through. I think the most recent big one, other than the superchargers, we saw that, what was that, maybe 6 months ago?
Yep.
But even 2 years ago, October, there was a big pruning where they went through and said, look, we need to cut this much. Yes, we have positive cash flow. Yes, we have good margins, but we've also got a lot of dead weight. In terms of burnout, the one person that I know who's fairly high up at Tesla is Ryan Torres. He is the staff program manager, digital content, North America sales operations. He's been with the company 10 years now, just over 10 years. He just took a 2-month sabbatical. I need to refresh. I need to recharge. And a lot of times after those, people will not come back. They'll go out, find themselves a little bit, recharge, and sometimes say, nah, I'm moving on. He came back. He's back at work. And he loved his time off. He went out and bought an upfit, a tricked out, unplugged performance Model 3, and went out and had some fun with it, just lived a little. And if you can do that, that's great. And I think he does great work. Obviously, he must. He's been there 10 years. So it is possible to still rest and recharge even at a place like Tesla.
Well, I mean, we can agree or disagree about whether or not to fire an entire department. But one thing I'll tell you is that if you look at Tesla's operating costs over the years, it is amazing. It is extraordinary in my experience, not only as operating fairly large companies, but also of analyzing a huge number of investments. It is amazing to see this level of cost control while maintaining the level of performance. It's just simply amazing. And
I asked an employee once, how is it that the R&D spend is so low? And he said, oh, because everyone is R&D. I am R&D. You are R&D. When I was asking, is it true that they ask for your feedback on how to make things better? He goes, oh, they don't ask. They tell you that it's mandatory. And if you don't have ideas on how to make things better, they said to me, do you think things here are perfect? They're not. Surely we can agree. How do we get closer? What do we do to make it better? So every employee is R&D.
One of the things that is most interesting about that is to compare BYD with Tesla in terms of the BYD operating cost versus the Tesla operating costs. Give me a wild stab guess of what BYD's
Headcount?
Operating cost. Well, we'll get to headcount, but operating
Mhm.
cost as a percentage of revenue.
I have honestly no idea, and I don't know what it should be, but as a percentage of revenue,
Well,
if it
tell
was
you what,
bad, I'd say 30%.
give it to me as a multiplier of the Tesla operating cost.
Well, I know what their headcount is, and even though their wages on average are surely lower than Tesla's, I'm going to say they're twice as bad as Tesla. Is it double?
Yeah, closer to 4 times.
Oh, well, their largest product is batteries, and batteries are very low margin, but their headcount
But it's not
is
margin. Margin doesn't matter. Headcount is related to revenue. I'm comparing it to total
right. But if they had
revenue.
more margin, they'd have more revenue.
Margin's a very small
I
percentage of
guess
revenue.
you're right.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it is extraordinary how, and you can't directly compare it to GM or Ford because there are multiple different businesses, and even when they break out auto from the rest of their other businesses, you've got the issue of the parts and the spare parts and services. So it's not directly comparable, but we are talking about one of the best run companies in the world with one of the lowest overhead,
Mm.
cost of operations are just incredibly low. And so, in order to operate at that level of efficiency, you have to be absolutely, focused on operating cost. And it's a hallmark of Elon's companies that very few people really understand and appreciate.
hmm And what's going to happen to Tesla's operating cost when they're able to start pulling employees out one by one off the assembly line and replacing them with an Optimus?
Well, actually, not only that, but when they replace so many operators with, the unbox process, because that's going
hmm
to reduce the amount of operators even before they put Optimi on the line.
hmm Yes. And the way it's designed, unboxed, they tried to go with a completely automated build process for Model 3, and it didn't work
Right.
because there's things that you need human touch for,
Yeah.
things like the insulation and some of the wiring nonsense. And the reason you couldn't do it is because you designed a car that was meant to be built by fingers. And what they did with Unbox is said, how do we design it so that the robots can build it? Not some future robots,
Right.
the industrial ones we already have,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
let's not rely on 3 or 4 uh, as yet unsolved problems, which is what killed the Dyson car. Is they wanted it to do a bunch of things and none of them were possible yet, and you have to have all of them work. This is a process that can be done with today's technology, and it gets you one step closer to a lights out factory where you don't need lights because there's no people in there. Be pretty
We're
wild.
back to the 18th century where we had factories without lights.
Oh, yeah, a little bit different reason, but
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, back to the
There's
future.
there's going to be uh, what we've seen, not just Tesla, but Elon's companies do consistently is more with less. If I told you I want to build a company that's going to accomplish what SpaceX is going to accomplish, how much seed money should I raise? You probably would have said multiples of what they actually had, because they only had, including Elon's money and every penny he could raise, a couple hundred million. And it is Blue Origin started before SpaceX. They've only gotten to orbit once so far, and they had billions in funding. They had the one of the richest men in the world at
Well,
the
I'll
time
just correct
backing it.
that. They haven't yet put an economic
No, they
cargo
haven't
into space.
deployed to orbit,
Yeah.
but they did have a test flight that
Yeah, they
reached.
did. They did have a test device go into orbit. Yeah.
Yeah. So their first orbital class rocket has just caught up with SpaceX's third orbital class rocket. Terrible.
Did you see? Can we talk about Neuralink very briefly?
Sure.
Did you see the video of the hand being manipulated by Neuralink?
I saw it. I didn't turn the sound on, so you'll have to tell me about it.
Well, we can actually show it to our
All right.
audience. Let's see if we can add it to.
What I love is the skeptics and critics are evenly divided between the things Elon's companies do are not revolutionary, and saying that they're so revolutionary that they shouldn't count. And it's like, well, you kind of got to pick.
Yeah, you got to choose your poison.
Yeah.
All right, let me show this on the screen.
And just by thinking about it, wow, that's a remarkable level of control.
I mean, nobody's touching a control. Nobody's actually telling it what to do. He is actually thinking about what he wants it to do, and it's doing it.
Yeah. And this is, you and I have had an opportunity to chat online with Bradford Smith, one of the first recipients. It is, life-changing.
Yeah.
And there are other companies that have done research with similar things, not with as many, not with the same density of electrodes, I guess you'd call them, and not with the same degree of success. And because everything Elon does, all of his companies are innovation first, they're software first, they're tech first companies. When the first patient who got them, they found that the wires had retracted a little bit. They changed the algorithm to improve it, and he got right back to the expected speeds despite the physical hardware limitations. Amazing.
Yeah, and they're learning. This is just the beginning. Really, it's just the beginning. I mean, Elon has incredible vision for what's coming in the future. I just found this very exciting. We're beginning to see the opportunities that exist. We're beginning to see them. All
It's
right.
crazy.
Yeah. Brian, thanks very much indeed. This was fun.
Yeah.
And look forward to your Herbert appearances in the future. I just won't be Herbert.
Yes, you can. It's almost Halloween. You did a pretty good Herbert impression.
I'll have to grow some hair. All right, man. Take care.
Talk to you soon.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.